Are companies actually paying 100K or more for marketing websites and SaaS platforms? Well, most of them don't actually. But if you position yourself properly, you can work with leading startups and enterprises to solve big problems for big checks like that can be even bigger than 100K per year. And that's why in this video, I want to go over on all of the things you need to know if you want to get your first client, how we got our first client at Flow Ninja, and kind of basically you're maybe even using their product every single day. Why do enterprises actually use agencies? And the last thing is kind of in 10 steps, what you can expect when working with your first enterprise client. So, I'm Uros and I'm the founder and CEO at Flow Ninja. And since 2015 and something like that, I've been working with different startups and companies at full-time roles and then later on at our studio itself and help them realize ideas faster and better by leveraging Webflow. And actually, one of our first clients, and first enterprise clients was Upwork, like the company itself, and like not working on Upwork platform itself. And the way we came to the client is with me actually working full-time for the client for a year or so before they transitioned to become our full-time client at the studio and kind of me actually being removed from the operations there. And that's not what many other people are going to tell you about. I mean, when you're searching for that first enterprise client, you don't have case studies on other enterprise projects, and enterprises want security. So by being at that time like a great Webflow expert, I was providing enough security for me to work full-time for a much lower rate, I would say, than any of the agencies, so that I can deliver all the results, that I can be proactive, and I can actually deliver a lot more value than they were paying me for at that time. Later on, with time, we were able to kind of scale them to our first enterprise client. Before jumping into the 10 things you can expect when working with enterprises, I want to go ahead and see, why do enterprises actually choose agencies to work with after all? I mean, like, they have thousands of employees, they have big budgets, they can hire full-time in-house teams, and they can kind of hire any experts they want to. But all of that requires time. In order to grow a good and a successful team, you need to hire somebody for a year to embed them into your company values. They need to kind of hire then more people, and like all of that is going to be a process. Versus the other way around, they're going to be looking for speed, agility, and innovation by being able to hire either a freelancer who's a real expert in the area and who lives and breathes, let's say in our case, Webflow. They're able to leverage things faster, or by hiring an agency, they can have an access to, let's say, 5 people working on their website straight away. They are already kind of integrated into the studio itself. They have their own values, their mission, their vision, and like they are innovative and proactive on their own, and they can be delivering value to the company itself much faster. So from my perspective and working with like almost 10 enterprises kind of at our studio, we've seen the amount of value we can provide as a studio and like the amount of value Webflow can provide for them. So for me, currently it's a no-brainer, but I know like a while back, it was a big question that I was always asking me about, why are they hiring more people when they already have thousands? So without further ado, let's jump into the process and the tips of what you can expect when working with enterprises. The first thing is finding them actually. And like, I can only speak from our own experience. I cannot say kind of do it this way or this way, but from my experience, I had a full-time job. That was our case study later on that kind of we were using to go ahead and attract new enterprises later on. So at that time, we solved all the big problems like reverse proxy, API integrations, etc., that weren't solved at the time kind of for Webflow. We were able to create a case study out of that, showcase it on YouTube, on our website, and also on the Webflow Enterprise Partnership Program that we joined after getting the first enterprise. And by doing so, we were able to go ahead and attract more clients, more leads, and use that case study as our leverage. And we were actually sure on our side that we can deliver all the promises we're saying to all of the other companies. The next thing you can expect is that you need to act quickly, but that's gonna happen slowly. So like usually our enterprise closing rate is like 3 to 6 months. So every single time when they reach out to us, we try to over deliver to show how proactive we are, that we're gonna deliver something quickly. But on the other side, they have a pretty big procurement process, and it's gonna take a lot longer than you're expecting to close a client. So like it's just something to have on back of your mind, that like even though they might say that they need something done by a certain date, sometimes internal kind of priorities or something might change, and that might push back the project. So you need to have a little bit of a bigger team and like more clients than a single enterprise in order to handle that at the studio. The next thing you can expect is a little bit of payment delays and like a longer procurement process. It's not like that they're late on payments, but from our experience, the first initial payment is gonna take a while when it hits your bank account. After that, everything is gonna be automated, but just prepare for a lot of paperwork, for an in-depth SOW document and to have kind of a little bit of a longer process from actually completing the work to getting paid than you would usually. Maybe there's going to be a 90-day payment term. Like, it all depends on the company you're working with. It's all normal. Everybody's going to pay, but it's just something that you need to prepare of before working with them. The next thing is kind of pricing and kind of how to price the project. We have a video kind of online somewhere here that might pop up on kind of how to actually price Webflow projects properly, but you need to charge more. Don't get into the problems of kind of there maybe these name brands in agencies which are going to be able to charge kind of 5 times more because they have a brand. They're ready to take a lawsuit from the enterprise if they make a mistake or anything like that. Like, not to get into the details too much, but like on your side, just have your normal pricing. Don't be greedy, but just try adding 20 to 30% on top of what you would normally charge, because there's going to be a lot more meetings, a lot more operations, a lot more stakeholders that you're going to need to take care of, and that you're going to need to kind of run through the whole processes in order to deliver the website itself. So that's what you need to take into consideration when sending your SOW document. The next big tip I would say is like have enterprise and non-enterprise clients. Specifically in a recession like this, enterprises are the first ones to cut budgets. They're I would say really fun and really clearly interesting to work with kind of for our studio in the long run, but you also need to have different income stream coming to the studio so that situations like a recession or anything like that doesn't impact you in the long run, and that based off of that you're going to be able to weather the storm and to kind of continue maybe working on some less profitable projects later on and pick up on enterprises afterwards. The sixth thing is going to be Webflow is a huge value for enterprise. I mean, it's a huge value for a lot of companies, but for enterprises, and then specifically with Webflow Enterprise, they're able to maybe move 5 developers from their marketing websites to their product, and by doing so maybe they unlock 500k more budget for their product, so they're going to be able to save 500k and they can pay you maybe a 100k kind of for your studio to implement the marketing website and to do the maintenance afterwards. So by looking at that, you can see that in their case they might have an old system, they might have 5 different systems they're running on currently. So by leveraging Webflow for all of their marketing needs and for marketing needs, and to have a single touch point for everything marketing related, or later on maybe if you create a SaaS or you create some custom product on Webflow, it's gonna be a real big winner for them, and like it's gonna allow them a lot more than it would allow any of the other companies. So just try researching them a lot and just seeing all the possible use cases where Webflow can be used, because it's the best possible use case for enterprise in my opinion. The next thing is going to be processes. Make sure that you have SOPs around everything and that you communicate everything in as clear way as possible, because there are going to be delays. Maybe somebody goes on vacation, like there are a lot of stakeholders, maybe something needs to go through legal approval kind of a little bit longer. So just expect delays to come from time to time. It's not due to like the company being bad or anything like that. It's just normal that there's a lot more things that need to be secure and checked before they go live than in a normal company, just because they have those investors, they have that, let's say 10%, 20%, 30% profit they need to have at the end of the year. So they're going to just be a little bit more careful when approving anything on that side. So that's why you need to create processes, you need to communicate processes, and sometimes you will need to create processes around them, because you might get their email address, you might get their Jira ticketing system or Asana ticketing system or anything like that, and you're going to need to adjust to that kind of in general. Then the next thing is like you can expect a lot of sleepless nights if this is your first enterprise project, just because they're going to have a lot more technical requirements than a usual Webflow project. Or like if you're running an agency that's not a Webflow, like they're just gonna have a little bit more technical requirements. It might be API integrations, it might be reverse proxy, and I don't know, like the list can go on and on and on. Just expect the first project is gonna be a little bit more painful than like all of the other ones you've done, and like every single other one is gonna be like a lot easier, because you're gonna understand the processes, you're gonna have the documents you need to send over, you're gonna have all of that ready. But just to know, like the first project is gonna probably be like a lot more time consuming, and just don't give up after that, because every single next one, like when working with enterprises, is gonna be a lot easier to streamline. The ninth thing that we might not have been ready always is like once they see the value, they're gonna continue having more and more and more and more projects. So just be ready to either proactively suggest where Webflow can be integrated, so that you can kind of help them integrate Webflow in those areas, specifically again around Webflow. It can be related around any service you're delivering. So just be prepared to have more work coming in kind of after you finish the initial project, and you're probably gonna have a long-term contract with them in the ideal scenario to use the most amount of the benefits that Webflow can use for them and to support the most amount of value for them. So just be prepared, maybe hire more people. I mean, if you can afford to, but just, you know, they want work, they want great quality work. Like it's not super easy to find an agency who's gonna be reliable. So just be prepared for that, and kind of hopefully have some proactive campaigns from your side coming to them kind of in what they can do with their account. And then the final thing is kind of hopefully when you get your first enterprise client, they start using Webflow Enterprise, you can become the Webflow Enterprise partner and like have the enterprise badge for your studio, and you're gonna be able to get more and more more leads coming into your way by you leveraging that client to Webflow, by them using Webflow Enterprise, and to also kind of hopefully start having some Webflow Enterprise leads coming from the marketplace. So if you're a client and this was maybe just an exploratory video for you just to figure out what the heck can Webflow Enterprise do, you can view our work down below kind of at flow.ninja/our work and kind of see other enterprise projects and kind of check them out. Or if you want to see more of these honest videos about the process of actually scaling a world class, maybe one of the fastest growing Webflow Enterprise studios in Europe, you can go ahead and click the bell icon down below and click the subscribe button, because we publish videos every single week.